Since the Change Healthcare cyber attack, I've heard from hospitals, providers all across Wyoming, and I'm sure you've heard from people all across the country. Sheridan Memorial Hospital, Sheridan, Wyoming, shared with me how the attack has impacted them and their patients. So it took 26 days for the claim processing to be restored at Sheridan Memorial. Like thousands of other hospitals, they experienced financial hits that are going to take them months from which to recover. Over the 26 days, they were delayed in filing 17,000 claims, resulted in about $20 million in unpaid services. Rural hospitals all across Wyoming and the U.S. provide access to essential health services. You know, they represent the most financially vulnerable hospitals because when a hospital closes, it's usually a rural hospital. So 50% of rural hospitals already operating right now in the red. This breach may send some of them into a financial spiral for which they can't come back, and those communities are often rural frontier areas. There's not a hospital, another hospital nearby. So how are you prioritizing the processing of claims?
Senator, thank you very much for the question, and let me say how sorry I am to hear the kind of pressure that you just described. And please be assured we're working everything we can to make sure that we're as responsive as possible, not just to claims clearance, but also to make sure that there is loan programs available, particularly for rural hospitals and family health centers. And about a third of the $6.5 billion we've issued have gone to those types of organizations. And if there are specific hospitals within Wyoming who have not yet connected with us, I would encourage them to do so. Claims processing is broadly back to normal. So we believe most of the backlog on claims processing is mostly back. Obviously, I cannot assert for 100%, but I think broadly. Where we still have lag is payment on those claims. So, for example, if a claim is submitted to United Healthcare, our insurance company, for payment, we will pay instantly. But not all payers are paying instantly. So some may be paying as normal 30 days after claim receipt. That would explain why you're continuing to see that delay. We're committed to maintaining that interest-free loan capacity for folks until they have got through this cash flow challenge.
Yeah, because we want to make sure you're specifically prioritizing these rural and financially vulnerable hospitals because they need to keep their doors open and they're the only source of supply. I mean, there's been a lot of discussion about two-factor verification today. We have a small community hospital. They have a health fair I tend to try to get to every year. Kemmerer, Wyoming, town of 2,500 people. 2023, they spent nearly $1 million on cybersecurity. It's evident from how much hospitals like our South Lincoln County Hospital spend that hospitals take cybersecurity very seriously. Change Healthcare's commitment to cybersecurity, it's not as clear. We've had just about every person here ask those questions. I've heard the responses that you've had. To me, it seems like an excuse. South Lincoln Medical Hospital in Kemmerer even has this multi-factor authentication. They're operating in the red. And Change Healthcare was established in 2007. This was a hospital that was established in 1961, and this is a system that has been already updated. So did you lack the financial resources to implement a multifactorial authentication system? I'm just not sure why you haven't had this in place yet.
Senator, thank you for the question. And like you, I'm very disappointed and frustrated that this particular server did not have MFA installed. The Change Healthcare came into our group a little over 1.5 years ago. We've been upgrading their technology since we acquired it. You're right, they were established 2007, but some of the legacy systems in that company go back 40 years. We've been working to improve those, and unfortunately, we have discovered a server which was not covered by MFA and as a result, was exploited.
So have you implemented the requirements since the breach?
Oh, absolutely. So we have a policy at United Health Group for MFA on external services. We are using external support to ensure we have all those in place. We run continuous penetration tests to make sure that they're active. But in this is a very frustrating situation, which we're continuing to try and investigate to understand why it was like it was.
I practiced orthopedic surgeon in Wyoming for 25 years. We had a small group practice, 5 to 6 physicians, and the small group practices are getting hit as well, in addition to the larger practices. You have any plan to change policies to ensure that providers aren't financially on the hook in the future?
We certainly So I think importantly, we're providing really unlimited loan support for folks to get through this cash flow situation. And of course, we're always willing to talk to providers on a case-by-case basis if there are other issues that need to be addressed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Barrasso, before you go, I want to associate myself with your remarks because this is so important as it relates to these small families. And we've been at it for about 2 hours. And I think you touch on what I regard as one of the key areas. And we've just heard excuse after excuse this morning from Mr. Whitty. And, the fact is that first server that was hacked did not have multi-factor authentication, and Mr. Whitty's head of cybersecurity knew about it. So we got to get to the bottom of it. This is going to be a completely bipartisan effort. We hadn't had any senators saying, let's get a Democratic bill or a Republican bill. We're going to do this together. I very much appreciate the important issues you've raised.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.